1v1 ranking systems being worked on. I don't like the thought of that, to be honest. The trouble with a matchmaking system in Osu is that you have to be warmed up and you can play maybe one match, and that's about it. That's your limit for a session. Do you know how draining World Cup matches are? So imagine taking a matchmaking system as seriously as the World Cup, because it will be. It's rank-based. Let me have a look at this thread. Where does he confirm it? I like the idea, okay? In principle, I like the idea, but in practice, you gotta understand that it is a completely different beast playing tournaments and playing 1v1 matches. It's completely different beast. I'm almost sure, like, actual serious tournament players are gonna say, actually, no, we don't want this. Casual, yeah, for casual people, for casual players, this would be really fun. This would be really cool. You could see an entirely different side to the player base through something like this, but at the same time, it's just not going to apply to tournament players. Because this system is just who plays the most matches when top players aren't online, you know? If you can find, like, chunks of time where Malice, Emrek, whoever, Azuti, name any of the top maybe 20, 30 tournament players. Krilla, I don't know. But if you can find a time when they're not online and you play this ranking system, you can kind of boost yourself up past them. That is even if they played this enough to be at the top of the system, right? Just open for a certain time of day. Okay, play a tournament. just at that point, just play a tournament. This really bothers me because there's no good way to do this. OS needs a new ranking system? OS should never had a ranking system in the first place. Because be real with me, any other rhythm game that has a ranking system is incredibly strict with the maps that are actually ranked at that point. This is from the point of view of a player who would play this for fun and thinks all of the top players would also play this because it is some form of prestige for them. And it's not. Like, look at Zuti, who is now out of the top 50. This is the profile of one of the best players in the game, and she's rank 57. This person, regardless of who is behind the profile, take my own loyalties out of this. This account has some of the best plays in the game, some of the most unique scores in the game, some super cool rank 1s, and yet does not get boosted by the system. But if you ask any player who knows what they're talking about, they will quote Zuti as one of the better players in the game. I'd like to remind people, Bonk is 256. Yeah, I also agree with that. Bonk is a very well-known name because of the scores they set. They're ranked 256, and they have some of the most unique scores in the game. Like, who thinks to even try this? You mature as a member of this community when you realize ranks don't define a player. The ranking system is a system to play if you enjoy playing whatever's in the meta at that time. And the meta is currently aim slot maps. So the people who are playing aim slot maps and are good at them are gaining rank. And good for them. They deserve a high rank. And anyone else who's losing rank right now does not deserve a high rank because they're not playing what's in meta. Or if they feel they're underranked and their scores should deserve more, it's much more about what other people think the scores are worth than what they think the scores are worth. And that's kind of like, you're looking outwards at that point rather than looking inwards for validation, you know? So a lot of players just correlate rank with raw skill. That's what I said, right? You mature when you realize that this system is not a ranking system that rewards the players who are the best at Osu. Do you know what I mean? It's not a system that gives you points if you're good at Osu. It's a system that gives you points for whatever mechanic is in meta at that moment. Right now, it is fast aim. The next meta might go back to speed. The meta after that, it might go back to rhythm. It might be a rhythm meta next. But whoever plays those maps the best is going to be a high rank. And I'm fine with that. Because there is a constantly evolving ecosystem in this game that most rhythm games don't have. And that's why it's been so long-lived, right? Everything is slowly changing over time to do with the ranking system and not the game itself, where you have characters being added to League of Legends, you have agents added to Valorant, you have, maps added to Counter-Strike, which hasn't happened in however many years. And once change and development stops within a game's ecosystem is when it starts to die and stagnate. And us as a game has this constant evolving meta that keeps things fresh. And this meta keeps things fresh, right? That's why I think, ultimately, this was good for the game. All of these players losing rank, all of these new faces gaining rank, this new skill set that's in the meta, which is going to go away, right? These scores wouldn't exist if the meta was as it was in... Actually, no, maybe they would, but if the meta was back in 2016, a lot of these scores would go away. If the meta was the speed meta still, without combo scaling, we wouldn't see any of these players. And FemKitty, like, recurring character FemKitty's ranked 71 now, dude. How cool is that? Either way, the best players, if they really wanted to, the top players would keep themselves relevant. And honestly, a lot of these guys have been around in the meta and have maybe been disheartened by what the meta currently is. So much so that they've decided not to fight it and just let it happen. And that's okay. Does that make them any worse of a player? No, it just means they've lost ranks. Does that make the players who have passed them any better of a player? Yes, in that one specific skill set, which is what the leaderboard rewards. So, combo scaling removal sucks. It really does. But how many people have you talked to about it? How many new connections have you made because of this rework? Either ranting about it, praising it, discussing it? Tell me that. Made no new connections, GG. Basically none, to be honest. I talk about Osu with my mother. So I found out, right, this is one of my favorite maps of all time. I have a full combo on this.